fine. I just wanted to say something. You know, I'm not religious. I received some revelations in 1992, and it went into a manuscript that happened to be published in 1996. It wasn't for me a money thing. It was something that I believe came from my higher self, or the God in me, the God of Jesus, not the God that we see or hear about in the Old Testament. Now, I go to church. I accepted Jesus. That's our American way of pronouncing Jeshua, which is Hebrew. I accepted Jesus when I was 7 years old. I've been going to church off and on since then. And my education was in English. When I received those revelations, I wrote them down in English. Those revelations, I titled them, "We Are All Ona," but the manuscript was translated into French because that's what I was guided to do. And at the same time, I started painting. I'd never painted in my life. Never. I never even touched a paintbrush. And I did a few oil paintings. I would call them guided paintings. I sometimes would spend 3 or 4 days on one painting without sleeping. And 4 of those paintings, the copies of them, went into the manuscript, which was translated into French from the English original by me and published in French. And the name of the book is Nous sommes tous Ona. Ona means one. We are all one in this universe. I go to church, not because I'm religious, but because I believe I can get things out of what is said there and take the good, what I can, what is appropriate for me and what I feel is right in my inner self. And my higher self, God, guides me to know the truth. Now, I don't want to make any comments, negative comments about the Bible, but I do believe that the Bible has been modified and there's many truths in the Bible, but we have to be very, very careful, because when we look at the God of the Old Testament, and when you see and read about this God instructing his people to sacrifice others, to kill, to please him, that is not the God that I give myself to or that lives in me. That God of the Old Testament, I believe, was a physical, probably a physical being that was controlling the earth at the time. And that's not the same God as Jesus is God. When Jesus spoke about his God, his Father in heaven, that is not the same God of war that they talk about in the Old Testament. So again, we just have to thrash through it and pick out the parts that we feel are good and true for us. And that's basically it. The God of Jesus was a God of love, the etheric God, the God of the universe that lives in all of creation, every part of creation, whether it's a tree, whether it's the air, the water, the elements, our blood, us, human beings. That etheric God lives in all of us. We can call it the great I am that I am, Alpha, Omega. We can call it the Christ energy that is within our DNA, because originally I do believe that we humans lived in a place called the Garden of Eden, which basically is like heaven. And something happened and our DNA was put down to a denser vibration. Therefore, we are where we are right now, but I believe we're going up. We're going up in vibration. All human beings on the planet have this to deal with. And each one is dealing with this vibrational change as it's explained in the owner revelations. We're all dealing with it differently, but some people are reacting ways that we would term negatively by expressing more emotions even of anger. But I think that that's just coming to the surface because we have to do basically a spiritual detox, because the planet is vibrationally changing and ascending, and we have to follow. And those who can't follow and do not do that spiritual detox, so we can learn to love creation and ourselves again as we originally did. That was our birthright. Those will be left behind and not go to what we could call the new earth. Some people call it the fifth dimension because we're three-dimensional creatures. But it's like some have 1 foot in the third dimension and another foot in the fifth dimension. And that's just an expression, but I think it's because we're going through this vibrational change and a lot of things are happening. So some people call it the truth is coming out. People are having a great awakening. I just want to tell you that I'm definitely not perfect. I never really wanted to discuss or even teach about the owner revelations, but I feel it's the time. The time is now that I do start expressing what I received and use it for the good of those who want to receive it. And I'm going to try and do this in French also and express myself as well as I can. Just do not think that you're a bad person if you're expressing anger right now. Just try and cool it down and not hurt others. If you feel this anger at all this untruth and injustice that's going on in the world, try to direct it into a more constructive way of expressing yourself. And ways I find that really help is going out in nature and singing with the birds and just grounding oneself to the earth and the trees and the plants and flowers and all the natural things that the Creator the real creator, the great I am, gave us. So these emotions that we're expressing more and more, we'll have to learn how to transcend that and neutralize that. So it's not negative, it's becomes positive. The negative becomes positive. And also physically, we can do a physical detox, which involves clay, because we are, I believe we do come from clay, crystal, the original clay of the earth. Clay is very, very good. I don't take it myself as often as I should. And just eat as natural as possible. Drink a lot of water. And also fast. Fasting helps us use that energy that normally we would use for digestion. That energy, when we fast, no longer is being used for digestion. It's going into our auric and ethereal bodies, so we can become more in tune with the universe, God consciousness connection, and also with our spiritual being. That energy would be directed towards that higher consciousness. So fasting is a good idea to go along with that. So detoxing physically goes along with detoxing spiritually. They go hand in hand. So for tonight, I would just like to say that we are all one. And don't feel guilty. Don't feel bad about yourself and think that you're a bad person, or that you belong in a mental institution, or you need to see a psychiatrist, or, well, that's different. If you feel so down that you don't want life anymore, that's different. You should consult. But I think we're at a point now where a lot of people are feeling that way, and they don't know why. And that's because our emotions, from the beginning of time, we've been taught and we've been controlled not to express our emotions, not even crying, especially men and boys. They've been taught not to cry. And crying is an outlet. It's a normal emotion for humans to have, just as laughing. So our emotions have been suppressed, and because of that, a lot of horrible things happen. People do horrible things because they haven't been able to express their emotions, because they feel guilty about it, or they feel that there's something wrong with expressing it. So don't feel that you're a bad person because you've expressed what they would call a negative emotion. Just try not to hurt anyone, verbally or physically, but you're allowed to express anger and sadness and things like that, if you haven't, especially when you were younger. And try to find laughter in the smallest things, because laughter is a key. Laughter and joy is the key to life. And you can find joy in the smallest things. It doesn't take something huge or extravagant. It shouldn't, to make us happy. So have a good weekend, and just be you and believe in yourself as the original human, the one that we all are, our divine birthright, Ona, one. So, until next time, I'll sign off. Night.